You're not going to answer me.
Greetings. I'm Christopher Logan Hildt, Jake Pendragon. You got to introduce yourself.
You usually do.
I know, that would be the Tiger. All right, today this is episode 12 of Fridays from the Hill. Last week we had a good one with Silverado. That was a lot of fun. Jake wasn't with us for that one.
Sorry about that. My sleep schedule's been all over the place.
Of course, we got to have my phone ring. It's 4 o'clock.
It's just your alarm. I put mine on Do Not Disturb. I was prepared.
I did too, but...
alarms go through that, I think.
My phone acts weird sometimes. All right, so what we got going on today is we're going to talk about everything we did this week. On Saturday, we had the Silverado tribute come out. That did really well. Bazooka from the Hillt came out on Saturday, too. And then we had the finale to the Operation Dungeon Siege, which we're going to play here in just a bit. So we got next week. We're going to be taking a break here from Fridays from the Hillt for a while. I'll probably announce this again at the end of the video, too. But for a few weeks, but we're going to be putting some other stuff out, but we're just not going to be doing Fridays for a bit because we're going to reevaluate what we're doing, and we're kind of doing a mid-season finale here. So we're going to have some fun. Let's start the video off by watching the finale to Operation Dungeon Siege.
All right, I can't wait to see the rest of it. Hit to Bravo Team 3. Acknowledge Sierra Whiskey.
Bravo 21 here.
Bravo leader missed his last 2 radio checks. All perimeter missions are secure, and Lieutenant Falcon has designated your squad as the extraction team.
Not like Beachhead to miss a check-in.
No, indeed. The captain wants a word.
I got my ears on. Shipwreck, this is command. We sent Bravo leader in with a fire team to investigate the location designated as the dungeon. His last transmission had them entering an underground bunker. Proceed to location and bring our boys home. Flint out. 10-4, sir. Bravo 1 is on it.
Mainframe has uploaded the coordinates onto the Little Orca's Navcom Bravo 2-1. That sector is the only remaining active fire zone, so happy hunting.
Affirmative, Breaker. Blackjack out. Okay, Bravo 1. Let's go save the boss and those Alpha 1 gold bricks.
Welcome to the game, it's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride to help me through the night.
Land of illusion, losing my fuse, abused by confusion, causing contusion, tossing these schmoes and losers. True to the rules, never choose the future. Who's gonna be the next to try? Thinking that you're gonna cut me down to size. Looking when you gotta look into my eyes. Bye-bye. You ain't even with another line to write. Evacuate my sight, I hold the flame that melts the chain. Oh no, Lord, say the name. When I flow, it begins to rain. I have to look into the hearts and minds of those around the world that are gonna steal your mind. The lies break your pride, making you a victim for the demo side.
Welcome to the game, it's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride to help me through the night. Welcome to the game, it's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride to help me through the night.
I strive to away my pains. If I never make a move, then the game will never change. It's time to hit the road. From city to city we go. We ready to put on a show. We spread our message across the globe. As freedom and liberty slowly erode, this tyranny starting to grow. You can stand up and face it all out and take it, but make it your duty to know. Never forget we're the ones in control. Can take what they offer, but me, I'm on my eyes on my prize, on my sights, on my goals. It's time that we rise and take over the throne.
Welcome to the game, it's time for the show. Gonna do my thing when I hit the road. Through the darkest nights I fight these lights I ride.
There it is. So,
That's pretty fun.
what did you guys think? That's
Hit to
that. Yeah, I'm gonna take that out of there. Okay, so
Very glad I was part of that.
a lot of photographs were taken by the Tiger.
A lot of?
A lot.
I did a couple of those videos by myself.
No, that one that
was
you
all
just
you, yeah.
showed was all me.
That was all you, you know.
Give her the.
I was talking about Operation Dungeon Siege altogether. There were 8 episodes of that. I thought we did a really good job. I've got I'm putting that together in one video, and I put it together the way it is. Well, there's certain things I want to change, so I might redo it. Otherwise, I might just put it out the way it is. But tomorrow that will air with and as part of Shipwreck from the Hildt on Joe Takes 18. So
Makes sense. Shipwreck was kind of the star for the voice acting.
yeah, a bit, yeah. I wanted to do more, but we were already like 30 photos in, and generally we try to stick to around 20. So it was like
It was almost 40 photos.
Yeah.
And only because you put in the 2 outtakes anyways.
Yeah. Well, I thought they actually fit the scene too, so it was like it worked for me. So I just put them all in. All right, so hey, that takes us to Jake and our Lenharrow After Action report for Ravager's Carnage.
Right.
See, session 3 was Monday.
Mm-hmm. For those of you who weren't here, we were continuing what we were going off of last week, but after we took care of everything at the lodge and spa, whatever it was called, I completely forget.
Hilltel's Resort.
The resort. So
it was a hot springs and sauna.
Basically, we were all settling into our new normal lives when we found out that no one can leave the city for some reason. There's this weird magical fog. So after a bit of investigating around town, we also found that there were things lurking in the fog. And so we needed to deal with that. Of course, some of our party was all gung-ho. Let's go fight them. And everyone else is like, what do you mean? That's a 10-person scouting party.
Yeah, I don't normally do music during our sessions, so we didn't have any. But if I were to put music to it, it'd been something from John Carpenter, Right Out of the Fog.
Oh my gosh, bro. It's just like they're sitting there, let's go and fight an army. And it's like, guys, we're just normal, ordinary people.
Yes, the Viking warrior was the only sane person.
I know. I was sane too. I was like,
we're going to go out and fight an army.
There were clues that there was something else going on. It was actually
characters too. On top of that, it's like
those creatures coming out of the fog. That was actually a distraction, so the guard didn't notice what they were doing by the wall.
Very, very good distraction.
Doesn't really matter. There's still an army out there. We can smell them.
So how did it end?
It didn't end.
Figured out.
I'm in the session. How did the session come to a close?
We figured out that the scouting.
We took more soldiers with us to check out the scouting party. That's what we did. We're like, hey, you guys are on the wall there. You got some army guys there? Give us some soldiers here. Come on.
Yeah, after we went out there, one of us found out that the whole scouting party in the army was just a ruse for them digging underneath the wall and sneaking into town that way.
Yes, and one of our party members so nicely did not warn us that the tarp that was covering the giant hole had deadly poisonous powder on it.
No, it was only white poisonous oak. No big deal.
Oh, no big deal for them.
It was frost oak.
Frostbite.
Poisonous frost oak.
Someone who wants to take the furs that were covering the hole to sell because they're worth a lot of money.
Well,
not so fun.
Then you guys actually went into the tunnel.
Yes, we did go in the tunnel.
What happened in the tunnel?
We found out that the tunnel was recently dug.
You do what? Yeah, I heard you
found that it was recently dug, and we found gross.
Because I'm a terrain warden, and one of my terrains is subterranean, and so I could tell that it was recently dug. So it hadn't been there for very long, which is a good thing, I suppose.
So what were the creepy undead things? Did you ever figure that out?
Well, you said there were mummy servants, but we didn't personally in character figure that out.
I described them as undead wrapped in.
They were wrapped up like mummies.
Okay, so as far as the party was concerned, those were some friggin' mummies.
But they weren't Egyptian style. I even said that they were wrapped in the traditional Billow Peak burial style.
Okay, so like my character wouldn't know that, see, because we just put people on pyres and light them on fire.
Well, one of the players noticed
Actually,
that
we
and did
put
say that.
people on pyres on a ship, and then float the ship out, and then light it on
Shoot them with
fire.
fire.
So, do you guys remember?
Well, that's a traditional Viking burial ceremony, right
you guys
there.
remember your favorite moment of the night?
Well, my favorite moment was they were kind of
Boob
sending.
out on the. Mine was there's a boob out on the field.
Yeah, one of the mummies when it got hit, its peg fell off. It's a guy. That's how I described it. Everybody started going, its boob fell off. So it was
I
kind of
don't
funny.
remember that part, but I do remember that everyone was kind of running me all around the city, and it was like everyone was like, "Go get the party at the inn," and
Well,
I went.
You are a messenger.
Go get the party at the inn. I went to the inn. They already left without you. Asked by them, why did you go to the inn?
I really find it funny that our messenger is actually not the fastest character in the party.
Hey man, I'm as fast as my race can be.
He's fast. It's just that Rubius, Pa, the Catman in the group, happens to be a little bit faster. But that's what he took. He wanted to be super fast, so he took all this extra stuff and for Man and made a character that's super fast. It's kind of cool, actually.
Besides, when I'm with my leaping and stuff, I can go faster, which is why I was hopping around. I can be faster when I'm hopping, just not when I'm walking.
Well, true. Well, we should get you some boots of leaping. That would probably really.
I already have all the leaping skills. That would make me go from whoa to wow. You may as well have a ring of flying.
Exactly. Wouldn't that be cool?
You can leap tall buildings.
So like
in a
if there's
single
a
bound.
20-foot wide pit, you can easily just jump over it.
Okay, so Warren's faster than the locomotive, and you can leap tall buildings in a single bound. But neither one of you is Superman.
I think it would be cool.
I don't think anybody's faster than a speeding bullet. That's not happening.
We don't know what a speeding bullet is.
No, I know. It's a medieval fantasy game. It's great.
On ice.
On ice, yes. Well, yeah, I've thrown in some horror elements to this campaign, and I it's because we're setting it up for our Halloween game, which we're going to call Lenharrow.
Mysteriously dark.
And we haven't decided whether they're going to do it on a Halloween night, which is what I want to do, or maybe the weekend before. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. But we got some cool stuff.
Because we're going on vacation.
Also, in about a month, we're going to be doing our military action game, which I'm going to be running a G.I. Joe campaign. I did a video with Elfbait on his channel a couple Sundays back where we talked about the possibility of doing G.I. Joe as a role-playing game. And the other guy that was on the show with me, Jason, Mechhead Studios, we just kept talking about it. And I said, all right, fine. I'm going to do it. I'm going to run the game. So I'm going to be working on that over September. I've already got most of the rules done and the character sheet. I'm already on the second page, and it's going to be just a 2-page character sheet. It's looking pretty good so far. So,
don't you got to give it more modern skills too, though?
I do. That's what we got to go through. I got to go through the weapons, the vehicle specs, and then I'm going to do a bit on upgrades. And I'm going to throw all that old stuff from our Mace game, the bioorganics.
You're just sitting there going, system.
Yeah, system. Yeah, well, it's basically a horror clone. I don't know. I don't know if I like that terminology, but that's what people call it. Like when they make a game that's like D&D, and it's not. This is kind of like Lenharrow, but it's not. So I guess you would refer to it as a Lenharrow clone. It's something we're going to be calling Lenharrow Splinterscapes. I think that's a pretty cool term. So
it's based off of our term Splinter Prime, which is basically bits and pieces of Lenharrow that have been split off.
Right.
So it's part of our lore.
And so what these the Splinterscapes are going to be for? It's going to be the Lenharrow system, but the Splinterscapes are each going to be a different era or genre. We're going to do a superhero one. We're going to do an outer space one. We're going to do an underwater game. We're going to do whatever type of horror. We're gonna do a horror one, which is Beyond the Miasma Veil. I've already got most of that. That one actually was being
Steampunk.
Steampunk. We might do a steampunk one. The other one I really want to do is an Old West.
Ninjas and Samurai.
Game,
you know, actually, I have a lot of stuff for the Ninjas and Samurai already, Chris.
Yes, so, I would definitely love.
So we got a bunch of that stuff together.
They might be on your computer already.
I know it is. I'm having a hard time finding my superhero stuff, but I'm pretty sure I found the Oriental stuff. So
did you? Okay.
Because I got all that stuff from the old hard drive on my my current external hard drive, so I have to find a lot of it. So
yeah, well, so I put some like Kitsune on there and Kappa and yokai and stuff like that on as races.
We just got to work out the way races and lifestyles work.
And then a samurai is its own lifestyle.
Like for the military action,
different kinds of samurai.
We're talking two different things here. Go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm excited about my military action game.
Yes, he is.
Well, yeah, he's probably going to get that finished before I even...
I'm going to be running it starting in October, opposite of Lenharrow Ravagers of Carnage every other Monday. I'll be running Ravagers of Carnage one Monday and military action games on the opposite Monday, because in September here we're going to be finishing up our Lenharrow Fantasy Adventures Enhanced Edition series. We've got 3 more videos for that, one on Monday, and then every other Monday throughout September. We'll have the other last 2 episodes of that. So it's an 8-episode series, and we may do future episodes for it or tie-ins to that, but about Lenharrow Enhanced Edition. But I think we've pretty much covered everything for the game system. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, there's more we can do. I mean, plus I can do Hildt books reviews on all the new books coming out.
Modules.
You mean
where we were replaying with Lenharrow stuff?
Right, where we were just explaining the game system.
Oh, I thought we were going to do like a show off our dungeon builder or our world builder.
Yeah, we will, but that'll be a video unto itself. Yeah, like I said, but those will be like periodical, and we'll just call it the next episode of that series.
What would be really cool too is do some spells, like show off some of our spells, how they work.
Well, we kind of covered the Lenharrow Encounters guide, but I'm going to get a hard copy in hand, and then I'll do an actual.
I'm not talking about the Lenharrow Encounters guide. I'm talking about how our spell system works.
Yeah, but we'll have to. That would be a cool video.
I mean, they got a taste of that when I was playing Vissenwing.
Well, yeah, but I was thinking maybe we could do at least show some of our core spells, how they work, and then show how you can create your own spell and how a ref can translate that into our spell point system.
And that's kind of always how we've done it. We actually put together Lenharrow in about 2010, and we've been tweaking it over the last decade, and we just released it this year. So we're having some fun with that. So also already out is the support characters book, and we need to do a review on that one and how that works. And that was actually written by the Tiger. So for the most part,
he did the writing. I just did the basic, like.
Yeah, you did a lot of it. I edited, but
what the creatures have, their special abilities, but you did the actual like written descriptions and things.
Right. Well, yeah, based on your notes, you put together most of it, so it's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, like I said, I did the.
And then in October, which I've got to finish up in September. I still need for Heroes of Haven's Run, the actual campaign book will be out in probably mid to late October, and it's gonna have what I need to finish is the maps. I mean, I've got there's a few like town maps that I need to finish and stuff. The game is playable the way it is. That's why we've been playing it on Sundays with the Heroes of Haven's Run. In fact, this Sunday, the day after tomorrow, we're going to be doing session 9 for that. So that should be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming up for all that. But like I said, Fridays is we're taking a little bit of a break. And then I'll also be on not this Friday, but every other Friday. Next Friday, I'll be on Bear the Gen X GM on Friday nights at 6 p.m.
Are we still going to be doing our Carnage games online?
Yeah, that's gonna keep going.
Okay. Well, because I was thinking because, like I said, Max and I are going on vacation, so
Right.
we should bring our stuff then if we're
Well,
going to
you were going to have to do that anyway. So
yeah.
some of the other things we were doing anyway. That takes us to tonight's topic. Unless you guys have anything else to add to all of that. All right. So
No, but I got lovely new backgrounds here. So you don't have to look at the plain walls.
I'm gonna snag the whole screen for a second, Tiger, so we can show up close copy of the movie we're looking at tonight. This is Clue.
Yay!
Today, as a matter of fact,
it was a really fun movie. I completely forgot how good Clue it was.
Now, what I put together a tribute video which will be up and posted on at midnight tonight, and so I started it and. This I found I'm gonna pause it here, but I found
ritual suspects.
I found one of that same picture, that last picture, on Google, and I didn't realize it, but when I posted it on Discord, it lights up like it just got struck with lightning. It's pretty cool. So I believe the link to Discord is down in the description.
Is it weird that some of these guys look different?
Those aren't the actors from the movie. That's
I didn't think so.
No, it's from the board game. I wanted to do a comparison.
Okay. I was like, is it?
That's what I was going to say. I wanted to do kind of a comparison with.
I mean, the outfits are the same,
right?
I mean, Miss Peacock, like Scarlett's wearing a blue dress.
They went from this, and then they made the movie. So
see, I was wondering if maybe they did a play or something, because that's actually looks what it does. It's a musical.
I'm not really sure.
It says Music Box Theater in Chicago, Illinois. So
I saw this thumbnail. And I was like, "This is pretty cool." That actually looks like the same actor that played Mr. Body, but his name was Lee Vig. I thought that was cool.
He's
leaving.
So
they had a musical. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
They did a lot of stuff for.
There we go.
Tim Curry. This is our monthly installment for Tim Curry. When we come back. In October, the first movie.
Tim Curry playing the butler?
Yeah, the first movie we're going to be doing is The Shadow. So
that's Shadow.
That's what we're doing when we're coming back. So I love that movie. It's Tim Curry.
Not The Shadow.
Tim Curry played a goofy kind of role in that. He was his usual awesome self.
He played a nerd. Come on. Yeah. But
well,
he was a smart nerd.
Here's your cast of characters.
He was actually a dumb nerd. It's really weird.
Going left to right, you got Mrs. Peacock, and then Professor Plum's kind of hiding behind her hat back there, behind her plums, her feathers, and her plumes. I meant to say that. Plums. So there's the butler, Wadsworth.
Well, he kind of is behind her plums too.
I don't remember the names of all the actors.
She's sideways, so he actually is behind her plums too.
This is true. But yeah, Professor Plum was played by Christopher Lloyd. Tim Curry was Wadsworth the butler. Michael McKean, I think, was Mr. Green.
Their names.
Madeline. I'm pretty sure her name is Madeline Kahn. She was Mrs. White, and awesome actress. Definitely an underrated actress. We were going to be looking at a lot more movies.
What was her name?
I'm pretty sure it was Madeline Kahn, and she was Mrs. White.
Oh,
Martin Mull was Colonel Mustard, and then finally on the right there, that's Miss Scarlet. That was their Miss Scarlet for the movie. It's a fantastic movie. I think they took a cool board game and made an even better movie. That's my opinion.
The reason why I'm wondering is she looks very similar to the person who played the High Witch in the original Witches movie.
I don't think so. No, that was Bette Midler.
Bette Midler.
I'm pretty sure. Similar. No, Madeline Kahn was in Young Frankenstein.
Yeah,
she's been in a lot of stuff. Like I said, we'll feature some more movies with her on upcoming Fridays from the Hildt. So we'll go on to the next pick. I should mute the music. Like I said, we watched
such
today,
a dorky look.
What?
Everyone's wearing a different expression. Scarlet is smiling in this shot. Why?
The one on the left that's Yvette the maid.
The maid.
There were so many running gags going through the movie. It started with Tim Curry stepping in dog poo.
And everyone's
smelling it as they came in the door and wondering.
Checking their shoes too. They checked their shoes.
Yeah, all just.
Well, that actually happened.
If you watch, he actually scraped it out on the front porch. Too.
Right, but it lingers with you.
It was fresh dog dew on the front porch.
Anyway. Dog dew is the worst. It was just funny for the movie, and then everybody kept looking at Yvette's chest throughout the whole movie. The guys and girls
checking it out.
So let's go on there. And Tim Curry to me.
Oh.
I saw it as the main character.
Did that actually happen in the movie?
No, it did not. No,
this was a movie promotion picture.
I was gonna say he never
held them all on the chest.
Weapons all at once like that.
Yeah,
the only weapon
I thought it was brilliant how they gave out the weapons.
Yes, it was, and I wanted to get a shot of that. I do have some clips on this video that we'll play, but I don't think I got that. I know I didn't get that one, and there was another one, the 1 + 2 + 1.
1 + 2 + 2 + 1.
And that's one of my favorite scenes.
You're out of bullets.
You're out of bullets.
But she wasn't.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't.
I thought the maid fired 3.
I thought it was cool.
She did fire 3. But
with all the
there was one in the dining room, 3
study,
in the hall, and 1 at the front doors. That's 5. There was only 5 shots.
Right. But that's up for debate. But
no, it's not up for debate.
The only weapon I'm pretty sure that he handled in the movie was the revolver.
Yeah. I mean, he did put them all in the cabinet and locked it.
Yes.
I was going to say, he did pick them all up and put them in the cabinet.
That's true. Yeah, but I mean...
except for the knife. The knife they kept where it was.
In her backside.
I had to get some shots of the cook because...
See, I think that's funny.
She's throughout the whole movie.
Kitchen full of weapons, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love how Mr. Bonnie came in and gave them all as gifts in little black boxes.
Oh my gosh!
With these velvet.
The cool thing is they were all introduced one after another, but it was like at first it was like what
they were all wrapped in these nice little purple bows.
Mm-hmm.
Or were they blue? I think it was purple.
They're purple.
But still, they were all confused because they went from least lethal to most lethal.
I don't think this scene was in the movie either. I just saw this shot and I was like, that to me epitomizes the cook. She was just, I'm here.
Yeah.
She's all, I'm taking up space.
She did brandish a knife in front of the butler, though.
Yeah, but that was in the kitchen while she was cooking. There's Martin Mull as Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard.
Like that in the study.
Oh, a lot of these are, like I said, a lot of these were promo pictures. And but I liked it. I chose them because I liked the picture. And
I got my money the traditional way. My mommy and daddy died.
Aside from Tim Curry, of the actual characters from the board game, I think that Colonel Mustard was my favorite in this movie just because of how the stupid things that he said trying to sound intelligent.
I don't have to help you sound stupid. That's right.
It was hilarious.
My help.
Totally hilarious.
That's right.
You don't need my help to.
And he'd go along with things and then try to be this leader, and he really wasn't.
Even though he's a colonel.
I love Miss Scarlet.
There's a single shot of Miss Scarlet. They all portrayed their characters so well.
Though I honestly didn't see Professor Plum as much of a flirt as he was in the movie. Just saying.
Well, this is true.
He was a lot more of a flirt.
Well, because the backstory they gave him was that he had lost his psychiatric license.
Left with his clients.
Yeah, well, because he slept with his clients.
So he was a flirt,
right? And
I didn't see that in the character in the board game. He just seemed like a very...
everybody had their own different imaginations of what those characters were.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, you don't know, the board game itself doesn't explain who any of these people are.
I think this movie did a good job.
The way that the movie did it, they put it together really well.
I like how they made us like, no names. We're all going by our pseudonames.
Right? Because when you play the game, you're just playing one of the characters.
Right.
In the game. And one of the characters in the game is the murderer.
Yeah, Miss
Scarlet
was
actually really brilliant.
Miss Scarlet was a madam for brothel. It was kind of cool.
Yes.
And there's our Mr. Green.
Oh, Mr. Green.
Mr. Green. I like Mr. Green.
He played such an interesting character.
I'm
The only good guy.
I'm not afraid to admit that.
He was the only good guy in the movie, yes.
Only good guy.
Well, except for maybe the cop. But the cop, she said in one of the endings that he was taking bribes from her, so I don't know how good of a good guy he is.
All the people that showed up were informants.
Informants, right.
So
the only one who was good was.
What's to say that Mr. Body wasn't blackmailing them too, though? That was the whole premise of the movie. He was blackmailing everybody. There's Mrs. Peacock, and I do have a clip of her with this, where this is the ending of that scene. So hopefully it'll play soon, because I've got some. Like I said, I have some clips. I tried to get a picture of each of the characters, and then there's Mrs. White and
Mrs. White,
Madeline Kahn. I'm a fan. So this is so unlike most of her other roles, though. She portrayed Mrs. White completely differently than she does other characters.
Dude, Mrs. White was a Black Widow.
Yeah, I know. I actually thought
literally
she might have portrayed Miss Scarlet just as well, because that's the kind of stuff she normally does. But I think she wanted a challenge in this. She did a really good job in this movie.
She made a really great Black Widow.
Oh, she did.
Black Widow.
I like how she was dressed all in black and her hair is
That's what
perfectly
they
black.
call a woman who has multiple husbands and all her husbands died. They call
Right.
her Black Widow.
And there's
Professor Blum
with the revolver in the study.
in this study. Right.
Wasn't it Plum with the knife in the study when we were playing Clue and you did it round one?
Yeah, did round one. Right? This was a trope throughout the whole movie.
Look at her boobs.
I won't focus on this picture for very long, but I thought it was relevant to have it in the tribute video, because
Well, who
it was
wouldn't
one,
look?
it was one of the running
They're
gags
just
throughout the whole
hanging
movie.
out there.
Yep.
And this is a completely unrelated picture.
I think this is from that play. I thought it was neat because to show everybody around the dining room table.
There's way more people here than there
Yeah.
But what I was going for with the Clue tribute video was to do comparisons between this and other things that people had put out and the board game itself. So
this might be like Master Detective Clue that has more.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Master Detective Clue is so fun, especially with a large group. If you have a large group,
This actually
Dude,
looks
it's so hard to get to the carriage house.
This actually looks like a scene from a Peter Sellers movie. Yeah, and I think it is, where he played a character, a detective, very, very controversial nowadays, but he played a character. He was a French dude. Peter Sellers, I don't know if he's actually French, but he normally plays French characters. And
like the guy from the Orient Express.
Yes. Well, no. He might have been, but he was in the mock James Bond movie, the original Casino Royale. He was also the Pink Panther in the Pink Panther series. And his character in this,
Pink Panther was a diamond.
I have a hard time remembering the name of this movie. It's like Die Happy or something like that, or Die Laughing.
You know that, right?
What's that?
The Pink Panther was a diamond.
I know.
Yeah, I was so confused when you said that was the Pink Panther. But the Pink Panther.
He played Inspector Clouseau, and they even made a cartoon series with him, right with the Pink Panther. He was like the backup cartoon, and in this he played a character called Fu Manchu.
Fu Manchu. But
he was in. They actually had a series of movies with him doing that, and he dressed up as an Oriental Chinese character. Oriental's probably not a good word now either. I don't know what. Whatever.
Eastern.
People from Asia. Asia is still a continent.
That's a broad spectrum. I mean, because there are Indians from Asia, there are Pakistanis. There, how do you actually just say Asian? Here's the clip. So let me back it up just a little bit.
That's more than just a little.
I know.
That was like all the way to the beginning.
Yeah. I'll get it back.
Look at her boobas.
And that's too far.
Boobas.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. There's more.
I don't want to stay that long on this shot. It keeps coming back to it.
Yeah, the clip starts right after this.
Jenna.
And then there they are.
Monkey's brain.
Here we go.
If you denounce me to the police, you will also be exposed and humiliated.
This is right after he gave him all the weapons.
Yeah.
But if one of you kills Wadsworth now,
I like
no
his
one but the seven
His
of us.
eyes got all big.
And
I
then
did not
the weapons.
consider that.
I don't think they were ever laid out like that in the movie either.
No.
That's a shot from the movie.
Yes.
You're gonna put the.
I just wanted to show all the weapons. Yeah, I better not mute it because the. Anyway, like I said, I wanted to do a shot of all the weapons because that's a big part of the game, and they made it a big part of the movie, and I really like that.
The candlestick.
The only way to avoid finding yourselves on the front pages is for one of you to kill Wadsworth. Now.
Boom.
I love all the sound effects in that scene.
It's just like there was such a weird.
This is where the motorists came in, and they all just walked in, and they saw him, and they're like, "Yep, he's dead." And they'd all just turned around like it was nothing, like it was nothing new. They'd already seen 3 corpses. They were like, "All right, it's another dead body."
And then they walked over, and then
I know they
like,
definitely throughout the night turned finding dead bodies into a normal phenomenon.
It became commonplace. Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, the policeman too. Okay.
I just like it. None of these guys were shot. Didn't I hear a gunshot?
And this was from something else too.
The Clue documentary.
Yeah. But I like how it was like it covered all their faces up and says who done it, and it some of them, and they made them look like the ones from the movie, like the maid and the Miss
Mrs.
Peacock.
White.
Miss Peacock.
But I like, who is this?
Who indeed?
Like, yeah, because there's Mr. Green. Is that supposed to be Colonel Mustard? I guess.
I mean,
Oh, the old guy with the beard.
Yeah.
What does it say it is?
I can't really read it.
It's bad quality.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's just a pig. So
I can see Miss Peacock and the maid.
Right. Some of them you can see some. You can probably see it better on the actual video.
I'm gonna get you with
Scarlet
that.
ending.
Yeah, they had 3 different endings, and that I thought that was so neat. And in the theaters, they would play a different ending every time people went into the theater.
Yeah, they played it on random endings,
Which I thought was great. And this Blu-ray
allows you to either do it that way or show you all 3.
right, it lets you do. It gives you the
Oh,
option.
that's cool. I didn't know you can have just one ending.
Yeah, you can just have one of the endings at random,
Oh, that's cool.
like in the
A
theaters.
special feature, 3 different surprise endings,
Right.
as opposed to just all of them.
So it gives you a different experience every time you watch it if you really want. I like to watch it with all 3 though.
I didn't do it.
Okay, here.
I did drink.
That was the trope.
Maybe he was poisoned.
I had to have this scene. I thought it was so cool. It's one of my favorites. And then later on,
Sit down,
Just randomly
Yeah,
smack
I
her.
wanted to get him saying, I had to stop her from screaming because later on in the movie, Tim Curry actually imitates him and says it's so funny.
I had to stop her from screaming.
Yeah.
Well, I had to stop her
However,
from screaming.
the clip I found, and the only one I could find, cut to another thing right as that happened, and he kept talking, but it was a completely different scene at the end of the clip. So I had to
What
cut
I
it
think
out.
is interesting is they added poison to the Master Detective.
Yeah, I could have, if I'd have had the actual DVD, I do have a copy somewhere, but all my DVDs are in storage.
So what is it? They added poison. They added a
I could've done
horseshoe.
Yeah, they had poison.
Poison horseshoe.
Dogs, technically.
The what?
The threat of the dogs killing them was there, too.
No. Dogs wasn't one of the weapons that they gave
No.
Master Detective.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
okay.
trying to
You're talking
remember the
Master
new.
Detective.
I was trying to remember the new weapons from Master Detective.
I
know
actually like
poison
that.
was one, and I remember
What
horseshoe
was that?
one.
Horseshoe?
Yeah, that's what I said. The horseshoe and the poison, but I don't know what the other ones were. Wasn't there 4 others or 2 others?
I don't know. There was a lot more. I love it how they had more clues, more rooms, and more suspects.
Yeah.
Master Detective is the superior version of Clue. And it would be cool.
Well, it
if
also
they
made
did
it
a
that
Master
much
Detective
harder,
Clue
too.
movie.
Oh, man, with modern visuals and stuff. That'd be so cool.
I like how in this scene they're just carrying her dead corpse. I mean, I know she's really alive, the actress, and they drop her on the floor and her head just hits right into this carpet. I'm hoping they had some kind of cushion under that, because I know they made the sound effect. It just sounded like, whoa. I was like, dang. And then they just dropped her onto the floor afterwards, too. It was like, oh, shit. I know they were supposed to make it like she was dead, and that it didn't really matter, but that poor actress, they drug her all over the place.
Well, they might have had a cushioning underneath on her chest or something.
That's what I'm saying. This thing right here.
That was hilarious.
Christopher Lloyd
he's between two dead dudes.
And he just put his hand right, he didn't know where he put his hand, so he just put it right on her butt and patted it.
It's just a callback to when freaking Professor Plum earlier in the movie did pretty much the same thing to Miss Scarlet.
Yep.
Like, turn around.
He did grab her bum. Yes.
Her bum, yeah.
She's like, what the?
But she didn't complain. She said, I didn't know you two were acquainted. She said, we're not. And she just smiled at him and walked in.
Like, I like that.
Oh, it wasn't like she liked it, but it was like, I'm okay with that, I guess, type thing.
Just checking.
Everything all right?
Yep, 2 corpses, everything's fine.
2 corpses, everything's fine.
That's my favorite line for the movie, and it's a lot of people's favorite line. So I definitely had to
corpses, everything's fine.
2 corpses, everything's fine. Again, they just became numb to finding bodies at a point.
Like I said, the acting was so superior in this movie.
I know, when they opened up the front door to see the last dead person, they just like, and they didn't say nothing. They didn't say nothing. They just closed the doors.
No matter which ending you get, the guy who played Mr. Green, Michael McKean, I'm pretty sure that's his name. He was from the Laverne and Shirley show. He played Squiggy, I think was his name. On that show.
Oh no! Oh my goodness, you're right. He did.
Yeah, no, I knew who he was, but in this,
oh my gosh, she looks so different.
Yeah, no matter which ending you get with this movie, he played it up so well. Whether he was faking being a homosexual or he was, throughout the movie, he was just like, everything was like shocking. And there was the one ending where he actually went and hid over by the door. I told you I didn't do it. I thought he did a great job.
I know, but and then was it the maids of, I'm scared to go in the dark.
Hallway.
Will someone go with me? And all the guys are all like, I will. And then Mr. Green, not me.
You guys talked over each other a little bit, though, so
I was just quoting.
Yeah, I know.
It was Mr. Green in the hallway with the revolver.
Yeah, that was in the actual, the one that's supposed to be the real ending.
True ending.
Here they are playing with the cook's dead corpse again. I love how Colonel Mustard goes, nobody touched the knife. You might get fingerprints all over it. He grabs it.
Grabs it. It's just like, what?
So, that would have been perfect, though, if he had actually murdered the cook.
Dude.
Because then he'd be like, everybody saw me.
Yeah, to be honest, this would be a forensic nightmare because all of them touched all the dead bodies.
They all touched the bodies. They all moved everything.
They all touched the weapons, too.
It would be a forensic nightmare.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
He's running them around, telling them all the different things that happened.
Oh my gosh, that was so hilarious.
He ran him back in the kitchen like 3 or 4 times. Oh my gosh!
And they got so used to it that it's like you said earlier. He just started, and they all started going. He just went through the freaking secret passage like it was no big deal.
And he showed up, but they opened the door, and he fell out like the cook did.
Like there was a moment where they were sitting there going, "Where did he go?" And then they opened the door, and he fell out, and they all screamed. Like, that was the second fake out. He did it twice. It was like,
my favorite was when they manhandled poor Mr. Green so much. He's like, would you stop it? And he's all, no. And he just grabs him by the collar and pulls him along.
All right. Here's my favorite scene of the movie. Oh. I had to include it.
I hated her so much. It flames on the side of my face, breathing, heaving.
They're all just staring at her, and I love it. I
think it's so funny.
This happened twice to him, where the chandelier fell and broke behind him.
But anyway, the whole thing with Miss White, it's like she did it, and the motive was right, but yet the way she acted, it was like, Oh yes, of course. I hated her so much that I decided to kill her.
The whole bit though, where she's all flames on the side of my face.
Just like,
And they're all just looking at her like,
what is this woman?
what's happening here?
Oh,
That's what crazy reveals crazy. She did it so well. Here we go.
Sorry, didn't mean to frighten anyone. You're a bit late for that.
This is where he said his the line that Jake Hardy repeated.
bit late for that.
Where he became the hero and then revealed that he was actually an FBI agent. It was
I was planned.
now I'm gonna go home.
I thought guys like you were usually called a fruit.
Yeah.
Oh, very funny.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
Yeah, and Howard Hessman, the guy that played the door-to-door guy. All right, so that's it. There's all the music.
Oh, you actually did 5 different songs.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of different music in that one.
You had fun making that.
I did have a lot of fun making that video, so I hope people enjoy it. Like I said, it'll be up at midnight. So that just takes us to talking about it.
It's a really good movie. I love that there was 3 different.
I think we were talking about it through the
I think
whole
we're talking about
No,
the
I
whole
mean,
time.
your impressions and Jake.
Oh, hilarious movie. Highly recommend if you've never had a chance to see it. In my opinion, of the different board game movies, they have these board game movies. This one was my favorite. This one was my favorite.
There's so many of them.
They've
out
had
there.
a lot of board game movies, but this
Like,
one
they
here
made a
made the
Battleship
most
one
sense.
recently.
People
I know
complain.
Battleship didn't make sense to me. I
People
was like,
complain so much about
Feel
Battleship.
like Battleship.
It had nothing to do with the game. It was a good movie, but it wasn't Battleship.
It wasn't Battleship.
I enjoyed the movie
it
a lot.
didn't exactly
It
make
wasn't-
sense to a board game.
It wasn't advertised as being a Battleship movie. It probably would have done a lot better.
Yeah, people call it a Navy recruitment film.
Yeah, that actually makes sense to be a Navy recruitment film, to be honest.
I enjoyed it.
Seems more like it was definitely not two. It was definitely not 2 armies going against each other.
I think it was misnamed and mismarketed.
Probably.
If they pulled away from saying this is a board game, because the whole advertising for Battleship was it's a board game.
Well, they
movie.
even could have called it Battleship. But if they hadn't said it was based on the
Based off
video,
the board game Battleship.
based off the board game, right?
Yeah. What were some of the other board game movies? I can't remember.
Let's see. I don't think there was a Monopoly.
No, they never made a
No,
Monopoly.
they never made Monopoly. That would be so boring, wouldn't
Those
it?
are the only 2 I can think of, actually.
I think Monopoly would be for an interesting movie. It's just a boring
They
game.
made fun of Monopoly movies, Monopoly the game all the time in movies, like in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
So, are there only 2?
It's the Monopoly guy.
I think that's not true. I think
No.
There would be more board game movies.
There's
I remember
probably more,
board
but those are the only
game
2 I remember. And because Clue did so well, so they did Battleship, but I think they're years apart.
several years apart.
And Battleship kind of killed the whole concept of making board game movies.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jumanji.
Well,
But then
Jumanji-
again, I think that was a movie before.
Oh, no,
Jumanji
yeah,
was a
yeah.
board game based off the
Jumanji.
movie. Yes.
Yeah, the
So
movie
they're the
was.
same thing.
They made a board game after the movie on that one.
Right. Well, that was some cool stuff.
Yes. I'm actually looking this up real quick.
No, with Zathura, I actually have a very weird but vivid memory. My grandma used to own the board game of Zathura, and I wanted to play it so bad, but because she was like, "We have to wait until later," I decided to pull it out and just start.
Okay, so they call Dungeons and Dragons a board game movie, even though it's not exactly a
It's
board.
not a
Board game.
board game, and I have issue with that. But I guess. But they made 3 older D&D movies and the new one, so that makes 4. They had an animated movie and an animated series. So, and D&D is kind of its own genre.
Technically, fans made an Uno animation.
Yeah, well,
It's a video on YouTube.
there's
called
somebody
Okay, so
fan base.
There's
that-
one called Ouija for the Ouija board, but I also would.
Oh
not
yes,
consider
yes, they
that.
did make a Ouija movie
No, thank you.
based off the Ouija board game. Yes.
Yes, I
That's
would
not a board
definitely
game.
not want to watch that. Of course, there's
No, that's not what I want to watch. I'm not into those kind of movies. So
Those stupid Ouija boards.
Oh, they call Pokemon one, but it's not really based on a board game. That's a video
They
game.
made a couple
Okay,
board games. But it's
there
not
are
an
there are
actual.
dozens of
No, the
movies
Detective
based off video
Pikachu.
games. Dozens of movies based off video games, but an actual board game, it was a video game first. So
Labyrinth.
say that about Pokemon.
Yeah.
Labyrinth was technically a board game.
Was it a board game?
It was a marble game. It was a 3D marble game. Was what
The
Labyrinth
movie
was.
had nothing to do with it, and they didn't market it as
No.
that.
No,
Was
they
a great.
didn't.
That was a great movie. We should do that on here at some point too.
The Labyrinth was a
We
good
can
movie,
make
but I
fun-
wouldn't consider it a board game movie.
We can make fun of the David Bowie codpiece in that movie.
Wait, he had a cod.
Oh, it wasn't a codpiece, but it sure should have been.
They have a movie that came out recently called Game Night.
Yeah, that's true.
Never saw that one.
No, me neither. Be worth taking a look. And there might be some
Werewolves
movies.
Within. Is that supposed to be about werewolf? The movie, the game.
It is, yeah. I'm pretty sure I have. I'm not sure if I've seen the Werewolves Within. I've seen quite a few werewolf movies recently, but
I was just looking up on the internet what kind of board games they had into a movie. Yeah, they do mention Jumanji and Zathura, but both of those were movies first and then board games.
So what did we really watch recently? I think. Jake?
So I wouldn't consider those movies that were based off of a board game. Those were movies that made a.
I did finish up the
board
Witcher
game.
TV series. That was actually okay. I was really disappointed by the ending. But yeah, that's based off a video game, so that one doesn't count, and a book series.
They got one called Mafia. That's apparently.
That's based off the game.
Mafia is a fun game to do with a large group of people.
Well, so is Werewolf.
It's basically the same concept.
Yeah, it is. It's basically the same concept.
Except with Mafia, there's more.
Yeah, I
people that
really
could
can't
be
think of any off the top of my head other than Clue and Battleship.
Well, I've been looking at them, and those are the ones
I don't know what kind of
considered-
movie you could make out of checkers or Connect Four or chess.
I don't know. Chess could be just about anything.
Yeah,
Medieval fantasy warfare. That's what
many
chess
movies
is.
have featured chess. So, actually, GM Cody did a really cool historical video on wargaming.
Yeah.
And chess is kind of how that started. And the original war game came out in the 1700s, where people would actually play it as a war game. And so wargaming, which led to what we call role playing and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got.
TSR
So-
is.
Check out GM Cody's channel. That was a really good video.
TSR did originally start with Civil War reenactment type games.
Yeah, I think they've got way more games based off of video games than they do board games.
Okay, I think our conversation on Clue has kind of run its course. What you got coming up, Jake?
Well, I have a little bit of a video project cooking up. People who are on the Lenharrow Adventures Guild may have noticed I posted a little question in a gaming channel. Which game you thought has better, Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy? I've been recording footage and putting stuff together. I have everything I need for
Be
it.
specific. The first Final Fantasy.
The first Final Fantasy and the first Dragon Quest.
First Dragon Quest.
Honestly, I'm a bit biased. I like Final Fantasy a lot better, but Dragon Quest has its merit. It's very dated.
Save it for the videos because he played them both, and now he's going to do his comparison.
I'm surprised how quickly you got through those games because I thought they were way longer than that.
Nope. According to howlongtobeat.com, Dragon Quest takes about 6 hours to beat, and then I average around 8 hours playing Final Fantasy 1 on a casual play.
The fastest I ever beat it when I was really playing it back in the early 90s, I think, was I think it was like maybe 7 or 8 hours, and I beat it at 17th level.
Really?
With a
7 hours?
With a party of 4 fighters.
With all
fighters. 6 hours.
It was all fighters.
I beat it in 6 hours with a party of all months.
That was the fastest I beat it, and it wasn't as fun as if you had different characters in the party.
I find it funny. I've seen you guys play this game multiple times. I personally have never played that first Final Fantasy game.
You should. It's a great game.
My first Final Fantasy game that I've ever played was Final Fantasy VII. I loved it.
On the PlayStation?
Yes.
of the older games. I love Final Fantasy VII once you got out of the city, but I had a hard time getting out.
I had a hard time doing the city part. The very
City
first
is
hour of that
such a
game,
slog.
I did. It was like slogging. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, they brought it back. They brought it back, and the only thing they've done so far is that stupid city.
But they made it so much better. I enjoyed going through the city in the Final Fantasy VII remake.
You know, it might be cool, but I was so fed up with it that I would save a game
after the city,
and just start playing there.
Start playing from that point, yeah. Because like I was thinking the same thing. Because when I first played it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I even like this game. And then I'm like, well, I bought it. I gotta go check it out. And I went through it. And I'm like, after we got out of the city, I'm like, oh my gosh, this game is so fun. And that's where I think my first love of RPGs, it wasn't from Final Fantasy. I actually played one, I think it was Dragon Quest, but it wasn't the first one.
Yeah, the first Dragon Quest, I don't see how anybody can get into RPGs playing Dragon Quest. It's a nice piece of RPG history, but actually sitting down and playing it's just 90% running around in the same area.
Yeah, is Dragon Quest the one that has the little blue slimes?
Yeah, that's their.
Like
I started it, but I was like,
my first RPG was definitely Dragon Quest, but it wasn't the very first Dragon Quest.
If I had played it before I played Final Fantasy, I might have liked it better.
I do like Dragon Quest.
So if you're gonna try, if you haven't played them before and you want to try them out, do Dragon Warrior first. So anything else? Yep, I know. That's what I'm getting to. I'm gonna call him a friend of the channel. I had a meeting last night with a new friend. That's how I'll say it. And he gifted me and the channel a very nice box. He had told me he had an old 12-inch G.I. Joe he was going to give me. And he gave me something special. So I'm going to put it up on the bigger screen, Tiger. So take a big, good, nice look at it.
He deserves it. He is an amazing.
And that is the U.S. Army Courier, and with the Harley Davidson, and the stuff that comes in this box. I mean, the listing of package contents over there,
right?
Is just incredible.
Like you put that out, and my eyes bulge. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I even said, dude, are you sure you want to give me this? Because I mean, not necessarily for the value, because I am never going to sell this. I'm going to tell you that right now. Not even if I'm desperate. To me, it's more worth it to keep it as part of my G.I. Joe collection.
Awesome. It's a beautiful piece.
The question I present to those of you who may watch this in the replay, or anybody else, would you like to see an unboxing?
I would. I want to see all the stuff inside.
I will be right with you with that unboxing. Not gonna lie.
I totally want to see what's all in it.
I'm going to do an unboxing next week. So I didn't want to do it on this show. I wanted it to be its own video.
I know, but I vote for opening it.
I vote for
opening it. I might do it live sometime next week.
Yes.
Maybe for Friday night, but Friday I'm also doing Against the Dark Master next week, so maybe I'll wait, or maybe
they put his dog tags on underneath his uniform.
It's down to the tie. The detail on this character.
Oh, I know the tie looks amazing.
So we'll bust it out and take a look at it.
He's got a belt too. He's got a couple belts.
What makes this more special is the first gift to me and the channel. So I wanted to share it with everybody. So like I said, I'm going to do an unboxing video for that at some point. And I was asking if you
wanted art inside. Well, they have photos on the inside, and I think the photos on the inside were awesome.
The other From the Hillt players are saying definite. So I will definitely do an unboxing, probably with Tiger and Jake. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how it works.
I would love to see.
Can I take his clothes off? Hey, we're doing unboxing. Unboxing. Can I take his clothes off?
I'm curious if the Tiger is. He can take his clothes off. I'm curious if the Tiger is more excited about it than I am, and that's saying something.
Oh, dude, I've always wanted one. I told you. I've seen like the old commercials of them, and I'm like, I want one of those. Those look so cool.
Well, I have a
Like,
few.
if I'd have known about those when I was a kid, those particular G.I. Joes when I was a kid, I think I would have gotten those over Barbies. Hands down.
I have a few of the 12-inch figures. I have a Snake.
I had no idea those things existed. I would have definitely loved those.
The only reason I bought those is because it came with the Spy Troops movie. That was the only way to get it originally. And, well, there was another way to get it, but I never could find it. So I found that and I bought it.
Yeah. So when I was a kid,
Cobra Commander.
Yeah, when I was a kid, Barbie was a big thing for girls, and I wasn't really into Barbie, so I always collected like dinosaurs and weird things. But if I'd have known about that particular brand of G.I. Joe with the clothes and I would have gotten those. I would have asked for those.
It was a limited run. This is from the 35th anniversary collection, and
I know. And I think I was older when they came out.
It is based off older stuff that they had in the 70s. And I looked it up. It's definitely a treat. So
I believe when the 35th anniversary of those particular Joes came out, I think I was collecting Power Rangers.
So I will say thank you to that new friend to the channel.
So I like the Power Rangers, and so that's what I was collecting. I did think about getting one of those, but I never got a chance to.
You collected a lot more stuff than I did. I had a Star Wars collection. I've since.
No, you were collecting comics when you were your collection was mostly comics. When we got our collections together, yours was mostly comics and mine was toys. I had X-Men.
Except for G.I. Joe, I had a ton of G.I. Joe.
Oh well, yeah, you had the G.I. Joe. I didn't have any G.I. Joes, but I had X-Men, I had Batman, I had
galore.
You still got a lot of that stuff. We
Gargoyles. I got Gargoyles.
You collected a series of Catmen that were really cool.
That was later. I was actually in my 20s when those came out. Those were, I think, those weren't I don't think they were the Farley toys.
And you're the reason I do collect Minton package.
Oh yeah, because I would buy one.
I never did it. I never saw the point, and then she convinced me to get one in the package, one out, and so I got most.
And now she's surrounded by tiny men on her walls.
I got most of the 25th anniversary collection.
Okay, so you might not know this, but I actually got that idea from a movie I watched or a show. I'm not really sure. It was there was a little boy that saw some creature in the distance, and the creature came and talked to him and told him not to get rid of any of his toys, to always keep his toys, and that they would be worth something later. And so that's what he did in the movie. And then when he became an old man, and he actually was as an old man, he was a homeless man. He had a cart with all of his toys still in it. And he saw the creature again, and the creature's like he's telling him how miserable he was because all he did was hang on to his childhood. And like I said, I don't know what movie this was. I don't know if it's a movie or a show, or I'm not really sure. But anyway, someone came up into his cart and said, "Oh my gosh, I remember this. This is worth so much money." And he ended up selling everything in his cart at that point and became a millionaire from his childhood toys.
Yeah, it's a nice story.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting. And so, that's how I started.
It's not very believable.
Well, that's how I started collecting one to take out of the box and one to keep in the box, because I know Barbies at the time were very, especially if you had original Barbies in the box, were worth way more money. So I was like, I'll do that.
I don't collect for resale though. Generally, if I do get some things and I decide to not keep them, I generally trade them for more G.I. Joes.
Yeah, so I definitely have a bunch of old stuff. I know what we ended up doing is we ended up trading them for G.I. Joes. So a lot of my old stuff.
I traded all my old Star Wars, all my old He-Man for G.I. Joe.
Speaking of trading, I've been watching the new Pokemon series that's based off of the trading card game. I had to laugh because they put a meme song in there.
Put a meme song. I still have my Pokemon cards too. I don't know if
she lost all of her cards in the wind, and all of a sudden you hear the Pingu meme where it's just like, I'm just like, how is no one talking about this in the comment section?
Well,
They literally put in a meme song in Pokemon.
we can just sit here and chat all night. So we're gonna end this.
Oh,
here
maybe we
pretty
should
quick.
do a thing on some of our old toys. Do an old
We could do an episode like that.
old
But
old toys that we
As
like.
of now, we're taking a break for a few weeks here, and we'll be back
True.
first week of October for Fridays. Like I said, we're still doing the Joe takes, and on Monday nights we'll have a live something or other, and every other Friday I'm going to be on Bear the Gen X GM. So check that stuff out. Bear the Gen X GM has a good channel, so check him out too. Anything else, you guys?
Nope.
All right, looks like we're good for a week. Thanks for watching Fridays from the Hildt, and after the hiatus, we'll see you again with the Shadow.
The Shadow?
Because the Shadow knows.
The Shadow.
All together that we need to review.
A dork.
But other than that, everybody, good night, and we'll see you again. So strike a pose.